This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.
Lions beat the Bears 34-17. And we got to talk about it because this was a win to get back on track. Not only to get back into the win column, but get back to what makes the Lions so dangerous, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, but I would say even on the defensive side of the ball. But before we get into any of that, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Have to say that we got the hat. We repping the hat. All right, what are you doing? Are you sitting there right now watching with a hat? If not, I'm a little bit disappointed. I got to be honest. Let you got some milk. Anyways, today, this video is being brought to you by BetUS, man. So use the code YouTube150 to get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit and 125% on the next two deposits up to $2,000. Now, with all that being said, you can see I'm still on the train of Jared Goff winning MVP. And I do believe that after that ugly performance from Josh Allen, they won the football game, but it wasn't amazing, that if there's another one of those potentially out there for Josh Allen, and I understand Lamar Jackson has now got himself back into the conversation. He has, even though he has 5 losses, but really beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why can't Jared Goff do the same thing? I mean, his numbers are fantastic, played a great game against the Chicago Bears, and what if the division comes down to Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, a primetime spot for the division, and he goes out there and handles business, and the Lions go, 15-2? You're telling me this guy can't be in the conversation? I don't believe it. A $10 bet would be $220. Stop playing. I'm placing that bet, man. Shout out to BetUS. Use code YouTube150. Let's talk about this game. Because what I mean by the Lions getting back to their identity starts on the offensive side of the ball with the way that they ran the football in this game. There was a ton of creativity here in terms of eye candy that the Lions presented for the Chicago Bears defense, specifically that linebacker room. Of course, we all know the trick play that was ran, which was fantastic. Just another one of Ben Johnson getting in his bag a little bit there. But I love that credit was given to really the scouting department for the upcoming games in preparation for what they saw on a fumble before and how the defense reacted to have an answer for that. The Lions did the same thing for the run game here, and it was a lot of stretch runs, I think leaning into what Jahmyr Gibbs does well, blocked incredibly well in this game. Shout out to Christian Mahogany. He stepped in. He was really good for the most part. I mean, it was hard for me to find examples where I didn't think Mahogany was doing a really solid job. I thought the offensive line put together one of his best performances as a unit so far this season. Pass protection and run blocking, they were incredible. They were adapting to the different front looks from the Chicago Bears, the slants. They were just finding a way to adjust to it. And then again, from the offensive play calling perspective, the emergence of Jameson Williams can't be denied. I mean, he got flagged immediately in this game after winning one-on-one against Tyreek Stevens. It was like, oh, here we go again. But him being the number 2 that can just go win, where a team like Chicago was at one point in this game simply forced into being like, yeah, we have to add a safety into the box to help against the run. But not only do we have to do that, we have to go to our base personnel defensively. We got them there, I believe, starting in the third quarter, where it was like, hey, 2 tight ends, you got to go base personnel, because typically Chicago's not going to do that. But we got them to that point in this game because of the consistent success rushing the football by Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. And then, of course, having a guy like Jameson Williams, we saw it on the 82-yard touchdown, what that kind of route, I mean, that was a beautiful route, first off, by Jameson. The way he kind of pulled up at the top of it and then just hit the gas. I mean, Jared Goff doesn't have to get the perfect look, as he pointed out. The safety was on top of it by the time he threw the ball, but it was just that the safety didn't have his back turned. And at this point, Jameson's just fast enough where it's like, look, dude, if you didn't turn around already, he's gone. I mean, it's just that simple. But it's really his ability to go win one-on-one on the outside, which has changed the way that I've looked at this passing offense now in this entire tenure, right? It's consistency and just an ability to win. And in the past, that would be Josh Reynolds, but there's just a little bit extra there's a lot extra, I should say, that Jameson Williams has added to that mix. And I think right now, that is the reason why this is the best passing attack that we've seen under this coaching staff, under this regime with Jared Goff, is not only how good the offensive line was pass protecting, and when the run game is like this, the way that it can simplify the heck out of the Chicago Bears coverage, where it was cover 3 all day long in the first half until the second half, they were able to pull out of that, go a little bit too deep safeties, and they try to kind of deal with it that way. But at that point, the game was pretty much over. I mean, the Lions were up 3 scores. This passing attack is at its best. And then on the defensive side of the ball, even though it wasn't perfect, and I would have liked to seen more pass rush in this game, I think Za'Darius did some things. Second half came around, especially, unfortunately, when the Bears got a little bit banged up. We saw Levi took off, and he started making plays left and right. But I got to give more credit to the adjustments that were made, right? Not just in terms of doing a little bit of a better job plastering receivers downfield, not getting killed by the broken broken plays. Instead, it was more so of the on-script plays that actually had success for Chicago, and the big play that they had on Terry and Arnold on the double moves and the quarters look, like things like that. It wasn't getting beat by the broken plays, and it was the adjustments that they made, right? The second level, Ben Neiman steps in, and I thought Ben Neiman played awesome at off-ball linebacker. They put it all on his plate, basically, to play opposite of Jack Campbell. They didn't even have Quan Alexander active for this game, and it played out incredibly well, getting Trevor Nowatzki back to be able to play that sandbacker position. Again, not perfect, but played really well in that spot. Outside of like the one time he was put in a tough spot on the beneath route, and he just couldn't keep up with the receiver. He was consistent there. And then the defensive line, this was kind of the note, and it's going to be the note going forward, is going to be strength in numbers for the Lions. That's how they're going to create pass rush. They're going to have to do it by everybody getting involved. Anthony Pittman started to get some looks towards the end. DJ Reader made some flash plays, tipped the ball at the line of scrimmage, made some plays. Darius Smith came through a handful of times, specifically in the second half, to help us out. Muhammad had the big sack that kicked him out of field goal range and forced Chicago to punt. So it's strength and numbers, and you tie that all along with the fact that the Lions made all these changes in the back end. You have Amik Robertson stepping to the outside role where he was playing before, and I thought he played a really strong game here. Of course, Terrion, it's getting there. I think it's improving in terms of just playing one-on-one. Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, they were just awesome at times in this game, and just give credit, tip your hat to those guys. They were just fantastic at times in this game. But those changes and Iffy back in the lineup, man, that proved to be crucial. His blitzing ability just to get after the quarterback and be a disruptor, we have missed that, and it's so crucial now with Aleem down and no Aiden Hutchinson, at least until the Super Bowl. We're keeping an eye on you, Aiden Hutchinson, at least until then. These guys have to be able to get pressure from different spots, and right now it is a strength and numbers game for the Lions, and it's a ton of fun to watch, especially having a guy like Brian Branch that can just kick into the slot, and when he blitzes from that spot, he is an absolute unit, man. He's a problem from that spot. So a lot of changes defensively, but a lot cleaner in a lot of ways defensively, and it shows the flexibility of this defense, and are really leaning into everybody has to be able to make plays. We have to play more sound, and I thought this week was a step in the right direction. Not perfect, still gave up a goal line touchdown that you don't love because Ezekiel Turner was just late on the play, but for the most part, it was a lot cleaner on that side. Still want to be a little bit better on special teams, not kicking yourself pretty much out of field goal range when you have a chance to go get points before the half, but this was the Lions getting back to who they are, what their identity is as a team, and what makes them so dangerous, and this passing attack just continues to seemingly get better and better. And the play calling from Ben Johnson is fantastic week after week. He's always got little wrinkles. He's got something different. I mean, the 3rd and 17 pickup, which was seemingly a design check down to St. Brown. I mean, I'm watching that live thinking, okay, extended play, you check it down and St. just makes something happen. The two routes that were going vertical, they weren't even looking for the football. That was a design check on the 3rd and 18 or 3rd and 17. You get 18 yards, you pick up a first down. So again, shout out to the play calling there. This coaching staff gives us a chance in any game that we go into. And in this game, the players played really well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So it was a great win, great way to get back on track, and now set us up for a potential opportunity to go get the 1 seed next week if things shake out correctly on Monday Night Football.
This video is being powered by BetUS, the #1 online sports book in the world. Use code YouTube150 to get your 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next two. That's up to $2,000. We got Christmas football this week, folks. The Chiefs and Steelers and the Ravens and Texans. If you guys want to take advantage of the BetUS code YouTube150 to make your bets right here, go to betus.com.pa. We also got all the other games this week. Make sure you guys check out BetUS. They got player prop bets, same game parlays, you name it. All right, so big time shout out to BetUS. Please bet responsibly. The proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.
Now let's talk about these upcoming games because, man, we got game of the week. I'm looking at this as like, this is all Lions fans, Vikings fans, probably Packers fans. There's a lot of teams around the league that are circling this upcoming game. Today, this video is being brought to you by BetUS, man. So use the code YouTube150 to get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit and a 125% on the next two deposits up to $2,000. Now, with all that being said, you can see I'm still on the train of Jared Goff winning MVP. That ugly performance from Josh Allen, they won the football game, but it wasn't amazing. That if there's another one of those potentially out there for Josh Allen, and I understand Lamar Jackson has now got himself back into the conversation somehow, but he has, even though he has 5 losses, but really beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, why can't Jared Goff do the same thing? I mean, his numbers are fantastic, played a great game against the Chicago Bears, and what if the division comes down to Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, a primetime spot for the division, and he goes out there and handles business, and the Lions go, I don't know, 15-2? You're telling me this guy can't be in the conversation? I don't believe it. A $10 bet would be $220. Stop playing. I'm placing that bet, man. Shout out to BetUS. Use code YouTube150. And that is the Packers and the Vikings. Oh my goodness. This is going to be something right here. Packers and Vikings. I'm going to start there first because this has a lot of implications as a Lions fan. Of course, if the Packers handle business, the Lions handle business, they're going to lock up the division before we even play that final game. And same thing with the 1 seed now with Philadelphia losing to Washington. So it has a lot riding on it, but it's also an excellent rematch where the Vikings were dominating the last time these two teams played, and the Packers found life in the second half. They roared back and made it a game, and the Vikings kind of held on. Vikings played an outstanding game this past week against the Seattle Seahawks, specifically Sam Darnold. I mean, that was one of the best throws I've seen all season. I had to give it to him. I was like, hey, that was amazing. That was amazing. I'll give him credit. That was an amazing throw. It was an amazing play, and it was an amazing response after Seattle just found a way to go get in the end zone. And then, of course, the defense sealed it, and you got guys out there like Stephon Gilmore playing at a super high level, man. They were up for the challenge, and they just found a way to not be denied to go win that game. But then I go to the Packers side, and the Packers, I mean, there's a lot of love for them right now because they're not turning the ball over as much, and I think that's crucial when you play a team like the Vikings because they will take the ball away. They have all those exotic looks, and you start playing into their hands once you start turning the ball over, and things can get out of hand quickly like it did last time. But the Packers pulling up on allowing that to happen could be the difference in this game. Leaning on Josh Jacobs, finding efficiency in the run game, that could be simply the difference into this game, and I think defensively it's been slowly trending in the right direction, specifically in the back end. But to be honest with you, there's not a lot of teams that have many answers for dealing with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and now TJ Hawkinson and all those guys. So to me, it does start off with, hey, let's take something away, find a way to stop the run. And the one area where I think Green Bay can find a way to find consistent success is through that defensive line. It's the defensive line that at times has felt up and down, especially early in the year. I didn't feel like they could create any pressure the last time they were facing Minnesota with a 4-man rush. Will that come through at this point in the season, right? Will they find some answers there? We know it's a different left tackle now for Minnesota. So can they find answers there, to me, is the biggest question. Can they get pressure without having to blitz constantly in this game? And I think they can. I think this is going to go down to the wire. I think that the Packers feel that this game is still very important. The Vikings, everything feels like it's kind of on the line for the Vikings here. This is going to be outstanding, and I just get the sense that we're going to get a split. I mean, yeah, there's some bias here. Yeah, there's some rooting interest, and you know what? It is what it is. I am pulling for you, Packers. Go handle business, okay? But at this point, I think the Packers can handle business, but this wouldn't shock me if it went to dang overtime here. I'm going to go 30-27. Give me Green Bay. Go handle business. I got the Packers. Now, unfortunately for Chicago, we're not talking playoff implications right now. Unless you're a Seattle fan, then we are. And the Chicago Bears are trying to spoil it. And I'll be honest, like there's things about the Bears that I think can really give Seattle struggles, but I think Seattle actually matches up pretty well here. I really like their secondary, and I do feel like that Chicago's probably their best asset by far is the weapons that they have. They just win when they're not open, and I think it's going to be a little bit difficult against Seattle to kind of lean into that being the answer. Now, that being said, if the Bears defensive line can just tee off on Geno Smith, they may have something here. If they can stop the run and lean on that in this game, that would be, to me, their best answer, and I think that they could potentially do that because I still think this is a very formidable defense, and they still have a lot of talent on that side, and the slot blitzing can become a problem, and it's just not a trustworthy offensive line right now with Seattle. That being said, though, I think it just matches up pretty well for Seattle because I think Seattle will find success rushing the football in this game, and they'll be able to minimize where I don't think the defensive line has been fantastic recently for Chicago. We saw it against our Lions, even though there's some creativity there to find the run game, but they're just a little bit beat up. Maybe Javon Dexter's playing. That could change some things. I think their interior is just a little bit beat up. They've gotten good play out of those guys. Coert's played well over a few weeks here, so I think against a worse offensive line, they got a chance to make this thing super spicy and super interesting. In no way, shape, or form do I think Seattle can win this by 2 scores. I just don't see it happening. I think they can win the game. I think they will win the game, but I don't see a way that they win this by 2 scores. I think Chicago's going to give them a run for their money, and don't let Chicago get out early. Don't let Chicago get up 10-0 in this game. If that's the case, I think Chicago's winning this one. I think if Chicago jumps up early, I think this game's over. I think they're going to win it. I think right now Seattle just hasn't been able to find all their weapons consistently. It's been Jackson Smith and Jigba show, and guess what? Chicago has Kyler Gordon. That's not a great matchup. So I'm going to take Seattle because they need this to just stay alive, but do not let Chicago get a lead in this game, or I think there is going to be a problem. You have to be on schedule against Chicago in this game and make them play catch up. And I think that'll be the case, but as of now, I'm going 23-20. Seattle gets the win, but it would not surprise me at all, I'm being honest, if Chicago beat this team. If they played spoiler, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're very capable. And then, of course, that moves us on to the game everybody's waiting for. You know what I mean? Vikings fans, Packers fans, Bears, y'all are waiting for this one. Lions, San Fran. Now, this is a weird one, though, because this was coming into the year. Like, this was the rematch. Last year's playoffs. Like, man, we get this team again, back on the road. We're probably playing for the 1 seed. Like, that was the thought as Lions fans. Like, maybe this is the 1 seed kind of matchup. It's playoff positioning. But it's turned into, no, it's actually San Fran who's out of the playoffs, and the Lions are playing for the 1 seed. It's kind of weird. It's falling apart a little bit over there for San Fran. And even the Dolphins, the worst team in the league, somehow beat this team. I don't know how that's even possible. The worst team in football found a way. It's crazy. But anyways, San Francisco just hasn't been the same. We've seen that. They're not the same team. And throwing the football, man, in terms of weapons, Debo played well this past week, but it's been so inconsistent this year. They're completely banged up. They don't have the same running back threat, even though everybody seems to run the ball pretty well there. It's just not the same. They're super banged up on that side. And throughout the season, I just haven't trusted their back end a ton in the personnel they actually have. I'll tell you what, though, that second level's playing well. Specifically Fred Warner. That guy's incredible. Like, he's incredible, and he'll be kind of the difference maker in this game, right? Jahmyr Gibbs getting most of the bulk of the load at this point, rushing the football. If he can make some big plays and kind of shut that down and kind of lean the Lions back into passing football much heavier, then that pass rush does come to life. So again, the Lions had success rushing against San Fran last time they played this team. It's just that they couldn't get off the field at all, and then they just gave up some terrible turnovers in last year's NFC Championship game. Drops on 4th down, a weird fumble to start a possession. Like, they found ways to run. I think schematically they're going to be prepared. Maybe San Fran has better answers for it this time around, but the pin pull looks, the wide stuff with Gibbs being the heavily used guy, I think that they're prepared to find success rushing the football. I think they will stay on schedule a majority of the time, and I don't love that back end in San Fran to just take people away. So I think the Lions will be able to play efficient enough to win this game and pretty much just, I know it makes a ton of sense, but just outscore San Fran. Like, I just don't think the Niners will put up enough points in this game as it kind of goes along. So as of now, I'm in the range of like 30-23 Lions. I think they just put up too many points on the road, maybe 30-20, but I do think the Lions will win this game, and especially if they go into this knowing that, hey, we win this, we lock these things up. Why not? Get this thing done. Let's just keep it moving, and let's give ourselves an extra week to rest. That'd be fantastic. Really do. Jake Moody's been inconsistent at sack base, just missed a field goal from 60 yards. Let's see how that plays out. Who wins the special teams battle? Let's give some attention to the kickers for a second. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Bakes bouncing back in this game, knocking through a big field goal, which we, chose not to take last time we played San Fran. So I'm looking forward to him knocking through a 50-plus yarder in this game. I'll take Lions 30-23 as of now over San Fran. But there you go. Those are your previews for the upcoming week. From yours truly, that's how I'm viewing these games. I definitely have a rooting interest in the Packers-Vikings game, but I don't know. I think that's going to be phenomenal either way that it goes. And if it goes the Vikings' way, I look forward to Week 18. We'll see you there. I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate y'all joining. Merry Christmas, and I'm out.
This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.